The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is Cowboys StoryLine with Nick Eatman.
What's up? Welcome to Cowboys Storyline. It feels like it's been a minute because it has been. It's been a week since we've been on here talking Cowboys football with you guys. There has been some changes, not the biggest of change, obviously, with Schottenheimer news last week, but Cowboys continue to add to the coaching staff. Won't be a lot of player personnel moves between now and the start of free agency, maybe a couple here and there. But the biggest news will be from the coaching staff, and then as we get closer to free agency and the draft as well. All right, Wednesday, February the 5th. Probably could have said that a little bit earlier, but I think you guys know the date. Give us a call, 888-855-2297. We can talk for a little bit today. We can at least an hour and a half. There is no show after this, so of course, I'm sure Chris has got stuff to do in the back. He doesn't want to sit and take calls all day long, but this might be a day. If you want to get in, if you're like, man, I never get to get in, never get to call, today's the day. Let's go. Let's get it done. We already have two on the line. We're going to start in New Mexico. Gary in New Mexico, what's up?
Hey, Nick, happy off-season, man.
All right, appreciate it. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Now, I have a Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl trivia question for you.
Okay.
But before that, I just have to comment on this whole coaching thing.
Okay.
Okay, I'm all in with Schottenheimer. I wasn't at first, and then I watched your interview with him that you did right after he got hired.
Right.
And I liked what I heard. I think this is a man that has a respect for the history of the game and for the history of this franchise, and that's important to me.
Yep.
And I like the fact that they're kind of going outside the organization and outside the box for some of these assistant coaches. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And had they not re-signed Dak, had this been a total rebuild, then I would have really wanted a Deion Sanders or somebody like that. But because they're tied to Dak and CD, the way that they are, this hire makes sense. And I know a lot of people don't agree with that. But let's give the guy a chance, man. I mean, I want him to win. I want him to succeed. I want Schottenheimer to succeed, and let's just see how this thing turns out.
Yep. Fair.
But with that said, let's go back to history. Let's have some fun. It's Super Bowl week, right? Okay. So of the Cowboys' 5 Super Bowl teams, which one had the most Hall of Famers? Ooh. And you can include the executive branch if you want to. It doesn't change the answer.
Okay. Well, I mean, you would think, I would think and I don't know this at all, I would think right down the middle, I would think the 77. Seems like it crosses over the most.
That's close. They're number 2. It was the 71 team.
71?
The very first team.
Because you got Landry
and there's
Brandt.
Yeah, man. Because you got, you had 4. You had Landry, Brandt, and Schramm. You also had Ernie Stautner, who was the defensive assistant. Landry stopped defense. So you had 14 total Hall of Famers on that 71 team. 4 in the coaches in the front office. You had 10 players. All 10 were starters, 5 on offense and 5 on defense. And there's a lesson in that the Cowboys from today can learn from. On offense, you had Roger Staubach, Rayfield Wright, Bob Hayes, Mike Ditka, and Lance Allworth. Okay. Those are the 2 that are forgotten. But those were both acquired players that scored touchdowns in that Super Bowl. And then on defense, you had Bob Lilly, of course, Chuck Howley, and then 3/4 of your secondary, Cliff Harris, Mel Renfro, and Herb Adderley.
Yeah, I thought Herb Adderley would be in there. Yeah. That's a
good one. Who they acquired from the Green Bay Packers. And if you look at that team, man, you know, back then the Cowboys were known, my dad used to tell me this all the time, they were the team that couldn't win the big one. They had never done it before 71. They were chokers is how they were viewed. And you look at how they built that 71 team, those first 2 Super Bowl teams, they did it through the draft. They found undrafted free agents, but they also acquired players from other teams like Mike Ditka and Lance Allworth and Herb Adderley, and those guys were critical to winning that first Super Bowl. So my point for Brian Schottenheimer is give him the tools that he needs and use every tool in the toolbox. You know, you've got to be willing to use every tool in the toolbox to acquire talent for this team.
Yeah.
So I hope that they do that. But anyway, love your show. Let the other callers get on, man. I appreciate you taking my call.
Thanks, Gary. Good mix of the trivia and the history, but also current stuff as well. That reminds me, we have a series going on this week on our website. Tommy Yarish is down in New Orleans, and he got a chance to talk to Brandon Aubrey and Zach Martin yesterday. But he's also doing a series on the 5 Super Bowl teams the Cowboys have had and what those teams had that this team needs. And of course, you could always say, well, they had Emmett, or Troy or whatever. But just what was missing, some specific things. I think today we're on the third one, the 92 team. So be on the lookout for that. It's an interesting series called Superpowers. What those Super Bowl teams had and what made them what they are. Let's keep it rolling here. Robbie in Cocoa Beach, Florida is our next caller.
What's up, my man, Nick? How are you today,
Good,
sir?
Robbie. How are you?
I am outstanding, man. It's like 76 degrees, bright, sunny. It's a beautiful day, man. Kids are happy and healthy.
Good.
Hope it's good for you and Chris, of course, and everybody there.
Well, they're happy. I don't know about healthy. The flu's running through this whole state over here, so it's been crazy.
Yeah, we all had it last week or 2 weeks ago. Yeah, but everybody's good now. So.
All right. What do you got?
So Super Bowl is when they announced the Hall of Famers, right?
It's correct.
Is Darren still in it? Well, I should say Mr. Woodson because I don't know him, but I feel like I could call him Woody and he'd be my friend.
He would be. He
just seems like such a good guy. I mean,
yeah.
I've said this before. But.
I don't think he would actually like Mr. Woodson. I don't think that would be. He'd be like, come on, man, call me Darren or whatever. Yeah, he's one of the finalists. We'll see.
Well, we're hoping and praying for him to get in, and more so than that, man, the guy deserves it. A good Christian, a good person, a people person. He represents everything the NFL should be to young kids. Is an awesome
You're right.
person, and you're lucky to have him in your life. That's for sure.
Well, you're right about that, and that to me, that stuff matters. I mean, being in the Hall of Fame. I mean, there's a lot of great players that aren't in it. There's a lot of great people that weren't in it either. But it's a combination of both. And if you weren't an awesome player, you're not even in the conversation. I get that. This isn't about Sunday school teachers and all that. I get that. But he just like you said it best. I mean, he's everything that the league would want in a player, from top to bottom. So it's amazing that it's taken this long.
Yeah, I agree. It shames me when guys like the player, I think what I'm talking about, is Parcells would have called him. I mean, a phenomenal player, but Hall of Fame worthy. I don't know. He doesn't represent what the NFL is. He shouldn't anyways.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. You got to be above and beyond all of that. And he was.
Yes,
you talking about Terrell Owens? He was. Like, he was every bit the player good enough to be in there. And, we can go on and on about T.O. I mean, guy really didn't get in trouble, anything like that. He was an interesting person in the locker room, and he kind of affected what the dynamics of your locker room. But as far as the player goes, I mean, he's had 3 really good seasons here in Dallas. He's one of the best receivers.
No, he sure did.
So
made Romo phenomenal. I agree. But
that's the thing with T.O. There was
nothing
always
matters
that.
except after the word "but," right?
Yeah.
All right. So hey, I'm happy with the new coaching. At least I'm hopeful for the new coaching, and I know you're going to take a lot of calls, but I just wanted to touch on Woody because I know we're getting close, and man, I hope the best for him.
All right. Well, I appreciate the
All
call.
right,
Thanks, Robbie.
sir.
Appreciate that. That reminds me, we're getting close to the end of this fiscal year, I guess you would say, for the StoryLine, which means it's getting time to start looking at the all StoryLine team for 2024-25. T-shirts. We'll have some T-shirts again this year. Trying to figure out the design's not going to change. The color I might go to more of a bluish this year. But trying to figure out the team, who's going to be on it, all that stuff. And I say that with Robbie. I called Robbie. I think you got a spot. I think you figured out a way to get in there. You've called a lot. Had some great calls when you do call. Not to give away the team, but pretty good shot there. All right, let's keep it going here. Let's go to Carolina. He's driving in Tyler, Texas. Carolina.
Yes, sir.
Nice. What's up?
You know I'm back with it, man.
Yeah, I was ready.
First of all, man, how you doing, man? Everything
Good.
going great?
How's it going there on the road? You always seem to be in that Texas area. I mean, are you just back and forth, or are you just kind of in a circle there in Texas?
I'm back and forth. I got a dedicated route. I go from South Carolina to California and back.
Oh.
Yeah, East Coast to the West Coast, man.
But Texas, I'm not the best with geography, but Texas is the best way. Just go straight through.
I mean, technically, for me, it's the best way because I don't like the mountains and all the weather change. So I just stay off of 40 and let 40 be 40.
I got it.
And I just come through Texas, you know.
I got it.
Might be taking it a little bit longer, but at least I know it's the safe way to go.
Fair. Like that. All right. What do you got?
Okay, man. A couple things. Did they come out with the official offense coordinator yet, or that's still up in the air?
No, they hired the offensive coordinator. And now I forgot his name. No, Clayton Adams. Clayton Adams, spelled with a K. Clayton Adams. He's been an offensive line coach with Arizona, and from everybody that I've kind of talked to about this one, and people that have around the league, that this is a good one. This is a good get for Schottenheimer. Just a young mind that a lot of people really like. And so he was an offensive line coach. That's how you make him. That's how you promote him. You promote him because you call him an offensive coordinator, even though he's not going to call the plays. Schottenheimer is going to do that. But that's how you get coaches out of contract by promoting him that way. So he's the offensive coordinator, same as Schottenheimer was, not calling the plays last year, but the offensive coordinator.
So is it an in-house hire or we got him somewhere?
No, he's from Arizona last year. He was the Arizona offensive line coach.
Arizona last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, I like you said, I really don't know too much about him. There's a whole bunch of, new stuff going on, what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Everybody said they won't change. So, I mean, I guess that, changes the trajectory of how it's going to go next year, hopefully, anyways. But, man, my thing is I want to see what they do with my guys. I'm going to bring them up, Deuce Vaughn. Because I think this is his last year, right? Under contract?
Yeah, you drafted. This is his third year, right? He should have 4 years. I mean, when draft picks have 4 years on there, other than first rounders. But you have four years, so this is just his third year. He's not up for a contract. I think he's okay. I think it's close to like for decision making. Like what do I don't think he would have. This is probably the do or die year for him though. If he doesn't have a great training camp or preseason, I could see them moving on. He hasn't done a ton, but then again, the new scheme, maybe they're going to figure out some things to do with him.
Yeah, I would hope so, man. I mean, I already bought his jersey, so I mean, that would kind of hurt.
Well, you're invested then. Yeah, I understand. I understand how you would want that to happen. Those jerseys aren't cheap.
No, a couple $100 is definitely not.
Yeah.
Especially for a guy who ain't played the whole season.
Yeah.
I've been wearing it though. I've been faithful, man.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, yeah, I really ain't got too much,
All right.
off-season stuff. Not too much really going on, man.
Well,
hey, I heard you say you're getting that team together now. Now you can't give out who's gonna be on there, but I hope I got my spot in there, man. I'm a faithful caller, man.
Yep. It's gonna be some tough decisions, but we don't really have a limit, so I think everyone will be all right. I think everyone's gonna. Yeah, I'm not giving away anything else, but I think most people will be pleased with where they end up. That's what I think. We're still working on it, though.
I know you said you're doing 11 team this year, so that gives a couple extra guys a chance to get in there. I think that was a great
I do
idea.
first team, second team, a third team. It's not like Jerry with the Ring of Honor. It's not a one-man committee. I mean, it has been last year, but I'm gonna get Beam involved a little bit more this year. Let him, he talks to you guys as much as I do because the interactions on the phone and stuff. So
Tell Beam I said if he got to put you in his backpack, I'm all for it.
all right. Hey, keep trucking
All
along.
right, yeah.
Appreciate it, Carolina.
Sure.
Be
All
safe
right, man.
on the
Take care.
highways there. All right, let's go to Kansas City, where my man Brian knows a little bit about the All Storyline team. Brian, what's up?
Well, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I was so glad to hear Gary in New Mexico talk about some of the old-time teams. So I'll start with my trivia question because I know 100% you're going to get this. What's the connection between the Broncos and the Cowboys on the Cowboys roster that year?
On the Cowboys roster?
Yeah, think about later years. Who was on that roster?
Oh, Tony Dorsett was a rookie. You talking about Tony Dorsett as a rookie, then went to Denver?
Oh, I got two people. There's two people. Sorry. There's another one. You got the right position. Who else was in the backfield with him?
Well, Newhouse was back there, and Scott Laidlaw.
Dan Reeves.
Okay. I guess I didn't realize Dan Reeves was on that team. He was on the 77 team?
Oh, I got the wrong. No, I looked up the wrong one. No, let me think about that.
Well, I thought what you were going to say was Craig Morton was the quarterback on the other team.
You're
That's
right.
an easy
No,
one. Yeah.
that was the Dolphins. That was the year of the Dolphins. No, Reeves was on the 71 team.
Yeah, I think he's on the 77 coaching staff. So, yeah.
He might have been. Yeah, he might have been. He might have been. Yeah.
Well, I was looking into that team, and I thought this was interesting. They outscored that team in 77 outscored in the 3 playoff games 83 to 21 in 3 games. And the 85 Bears were 91-10 in 3 games. So we always talk about 85 Bears 91-10. This was like 83-20. It was it was pretty close. It was just how dominant they were in that 77 season. Got 23 turnovers in the playoffs. 23. That's unbelievable.
Can you imagine?
No, I can't.
Wow.
I can't. 8-8 in the Super Bowl. So
yeah. Well, that was the story of that Super Bowl because the Broncos couldn't stop turning the ball over.
Yeah.
And the other thing to me is we always talk about the modern offense has all this motion and stuff. Go back and watch that game because our offense is all about motion in that game.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going back and forth. Like it's a bus. Like it's a bus line, between the two sides and everything. So, and then the other thing I like that he brought up was, hey, it takes everything because it's not just those rosters, but that's exactly what happened in the 90s. You think about the key acquisitions, Charles Haley and Deion Sanders, there's others, but those two specifically were also the tipping point, for their seasons. That's what it took to get us over the hump. And in both cases, you pointed out last time I brought that up, we are also taking them away from who was our primary competition in those years.
That's true. Yeah. So, I think you're going to see it more this year with the Cowboys. They have a lot of spots to fill. It's the same. Think of it like, I'll say this off the air when you're done. Do you have any more questions?
Just one more comment, man, and I'm hoping to get your opinion on. So, looking at how things have shaken out based on the coaching staff that they've put in place, because they're close to putting the whole thing together now. They're pretty close. What do you think is the best direction for those high-end draft picks based on who we have in place and what they're going to be looking for? I'll take both of those off the air, man. Good to talk to you, and
thanks.
Glad to see that you're doing okay in that flu epidemic you're having down there.
Yeah, we're hanging in there for sure. All right, thanks, Brian. Your last question is similar to what kind of takes me down the road I was talking about with what they're going to do. I mean, free agency is going to be the biggest part here of that question about what do they do with the draft. I do think because you have they're going to have – I just think they're going to have some holes going into the draft. They just can't cover up everything. So where do they go in free agency? Who gets re-signed? And where do they, where do they end up? Because I do think you're going to get into the draft. They're just going to be thin at positions. And so it's like, well, they're going to get a corner or a defensive tackle or a running back. The question is what round? What round do they get them in? But you're going to have some holes when you go in there. I think they're going to be more active in free agency. I've said that before. I think it's going to be similar to the coaching staff in that obviously you got a whole staff to fill, right? You have a whole staff that was here before. You want to take parts of these guys, or you want to kind of do a little bit in-house and a little bit more on the outside. And I think that's what free agency is going to be here, because they've got 25 guys that you have to re-sign. So that means you're probably going to bring most – you're going to fill those positions. Doesn't mean you're going to resign all of your own free agents, but you're going to sign about that many. So I think that you're going to see a little bit more from the outside than the inside, and which rightfully so. I mean, this is a 7-10 football team. You don't just bring back the same guys and say, "Oh, run it back. This is good enough." It wasn't good enough. But with or without injuries, it wasn't good enough. So you need to get better than what you have. And so I do think they'll sign some of their own players. I think you're going to sign more from the outside than we've seen in the past. And I think from that, it will look like they're a little bit more aggressive in free agency, but probably just a little bit more active, if all that makes sense. Let's go to Ali. He's in Florida. Ali.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
Pretty good, buddy. I hope you feel better.
I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm just saying everyone's been affected by it one way or another. Somebody that they know in their house, whatever. I'm fine. I'm good to go.
Yeah, because everybody I know around here also, they have the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's just like a cold
good.
or flu.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a couple things. First of all, I don't want Eagle to win. I'm rooting for KC. I just don't like the Eagles. So having said that, I was thinking maybe, last time I called, I confused you. So don't feel bad. I just born confused. So basically, I was telling you about the iceberg. I don't know if you ever seen one, but you and Chris and some of the podcasters are welcome to come. I'll take you to Greenland. You see an iceberg size of the AT&T Stadium.
Wow.
And it melted 2-3 weeks after that. It's just like nothing was there. It's weird and sad. And then as far as I was thinking about the draft, we are drafting on 12. And if you remember Washington game, we lost within the last 6 seconds or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And from 12, legally, if we wouldn't lose that game, we would have picked on 16th position. So I was thinking just because we inherited 12 by a little bit of luck, and I think we have a room to maybe a trade from 12 if our players day one is not there. And I have a good feeling that San Francisco is going to mess with us. Either they trade out of there, somebody want to get ahead of the Cowboys, or they're going to take the player Cowboys want. So I was thinking maybe if we push back to go to the 16 or 15, then we can get them maybe a couple extra picks. I want to give a shout-out to my favorite Captain Rob, Randy, and Irene, and the StoryLiner. Love you, buddy. I'm up.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, Ali. Here's the thing. I've said this before, too, but what's the Cowboys' biggest need? Good luck with that answer. I mean, it's easier to say what they don't need. They have needs. So that one player that everybody knows the Cowboys are going to want, I don't know if it'll be there. I don't know if it'll be that way. I guess if they don't sign a big name free agent running back, which they probably will not, we'll enter the draft with, all right, well, are the Cowboys going to take Ashton Genty? And is that going to happen? And so that might be a player that if you want a running back, you got to get to 11. You got to get up there. I could see that. I could see that situation, but if that happened, fine. The Cowboys have plenty of options that they could go. As that call was going on, I saw 3 mock drafts in a row. I guess it was from NFL.com reporters or something. I can't read the names of whose mock draft they are. But, and I saw 3 different players go to the Cowboys, and none of them with Ashton Genty. So, that's just the way it is right now. I just think they have a lot of needs. And I guess Brian from Kansas City asked that question about earlier, which position would you go to? Free agency is going to tell us a little bit about that. But I think if you've got if the running back is worthy enough for being there, I'm for that. I'd be fine if it was a guard or a tackle on the offensive line. I think that makes everybody better. I'd be fine if it was a defensive tackle, just because you might not sign Osa, and Mozzie hasn't proven to be the guy yet. Pass rusher would be fine. If it's a corner, I don't know if that will be the case, but, you could definitely take a corner that high if he was worthy of it. So my points, just about any position would work. All right, let's go to Lester in Minnesota before we take a break. Lester, Minnesota.
Hey, Nick.
How you
doing, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I think that we should we have a lot of needs out there, a lot. But I think we should just strengthen the offense because I believe that's where we have most of our I don't want to say better players, but that's where our strength is, in my opinion.
Where the money
defense is very good. No, defense is very good, but I just think we should strengthen the offense. It's an offensive league, so, you got to stop somebody. I understand that. So we need defense as well. As far as the coaching, the new coach, because I didn't get a chance to call in the last couple of weeks. I couldn't get in, but I got in today. But anyway, Marty's son, let's give him a chance. But I feel like it's more of the same. We've seen this story before, but let's give him a chance. And let's get out there and do something like we did back in the 90s, man. I know it was not a salary cap back then. I understand that. But like your Mavericks did down there. I'm a Laker fan, but like your Mavericks did down there, they made a big trade. Let's do it. Let's do something big. I don't know what. I don't have a little plan for it, but let's figure it out.
Let's don't compare anything with what the Cowboys have done with the Mavericks, and let's don't trade the best player.
I don't mean it like
I'm not.
I don't mean it like that. I'm just saying the concept. Let's do something big.
Yeah. Well, no thanks when it comes to just saying, let's just make a trade here in the middle of the night. Not tell anybody. Now, there's nobody like that. Like, I've been asked that question. Is this like the Cowboys trading Micah? And no, it's not like that. It'd be like trading, Micah and CD, at the same time or whatever. This was huge just because of the way basketball is, and so I'm still not over it yet. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm not sure yet. Because I hear a lot of fans that say like, I'm done. Well, I'm not. How I always say, you don't choose to be a Cowboys fan; it chooses you. Well, I chose to be a Mavericks fan, so it's still different. I chose to be a Mavericks fan because I live here, and I chose to be a fan. So I can do what I want to do, in that regard. I might root for the Lakers.
Nick,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, just yet.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah, Nick, I will finish with what I always say. Until we get a very good offensive and defensive line at the same time, we'll be more the same.
All
Go
right.
Cowboys.
All right. Well, that's who we need to draft then, one of those guys. Now, thanks for the call, Lester. If there was a Travis Hunter type player that was an it's going to happen at some point. An offensive line / defensive lineman that played both ways like that. I mean, it happens in high school all the time, and maybe in college you'll see it. If that ever happened in the pros, that would be Lester's guy right there. Because what better way could he get offensive, defensive line in the same time with the same player? It'll happen. It'll happen at some point. I think guys like Travis Hunter might pave the way, but there's a lot of guys that do it that can play both sides. That doesn't mean that they play it at that level. That's why Travis Hunter's got a Heisman Trophy because he did it at the highest of levels. All right, let's take a break here on Cowboys Storyline. I'll be right back after this.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
How do you tell the world about all the great gifts in the Yeti store? Let her rip, Troy.
All right, folks, let's get started with the Yeti French Press. Enjoy coffee that stays hot for hours in a French press. 34 ounce for you, 6'4" for the cruise. The Yeti French Press. Up next, waterproof bags. Bags waterproof. Submersible waterproof doubles. Waterproof bags. World's mostly water, so get a waterproof Yeti bag. Do I smell something cooking? Oh, new cast iron skillets made to be passed down like mama's recipes. Take your steak, cornbread, cobbers, pot pie, and potatoes next oval with 3 sizes of Yeti cast iron skillets.
Gear, gifts, and product experts. Visit the Yeti store on McKinney Street and at South Lake Town Square today.
Altec Lansing has been perfecting sound since 1927, bringing you decades of audio excellence to elevate your Dallas Cowboys tailgate ritual. Equip your next pregame with the Sound Rover 180 with 6 hours of playtime, built-in microphone, multicolor light modes, and a rugged exterior that's built to last. Visit alteclansing.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off your Sound Rover 180. That's ALTECLANSING.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off. Altec Lansing, official audio partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Cowboys Storyline.
All right, welcome back to Cowboys Storyline. 888-855-2297 is our number to call. Phones have been ringing pretty consistently here. We still got we could go another hour if it's up to you guys on that one. If the calls keep rolling in, we'll keep doing it. I'm laughing because I just grabbed my phone, got a text message from a friend of mine that said he's got Mavericks tickets for next week. Oh, of course we yeah. Feels like there's going to be a lot available there. Yeah, this fan base is hurting. And as I said before, just now, it's not the same. Basketball and football is not the same because you really, one player can take you to the finals, and you need more. But I mean, you could have one guy. So trading that guy away for an older piece, it's frustrating, and I get it. But it made me kind of wonder about from the Cowboys standpoint. A lot of people say that I would trade Micah. You sure about that? And I'm not saying this is the same because in football you need a lot more guys, but still you're talking about a young generational type player that can wreck games, and I'm just not sure I'd want to get rid of that. Just to get 2 first-round picks, good luck because Mike is going to help that team that you're sending him to. So nothing against these guys, but I mean, would you take Micah for Mozzie Smith and Tyler Guyton? And I'll even do you one better. Just Tyler Smith and Mozzie Smith. Because that's 2 first rounders in 22 and 23. Taking it in the 20s range. Tyler Smith, Mozzie Smith. Tyler's a 2-time Pro Bowler. I still don't think I would do that for Micah. So my point is that, yeah, you can get two first-round picks, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get the same kind of return there for sure. All right. I'm really excited about this next call. Lewis in Langston, Oklahoma. What's up?
Hey, well, I'm alive, man. I'm alive out here.
I tell you, I wasn't going there, but I we worry about people. I mean, I got about 4 on the list that I would like for them to call. Just so I can feel better about it. Because they've called, and they stopped. So you're one of them. And I'm really, really excited that you've called. I know situations change, probably work and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
How you been?
Did get work. It's just work, man, life and work. And then stressing about the Cowboys. And I'm gonna say this, and I know I'm probably gonna make a couple of your fans mad, but I'm a Oklahoma City fan, Thunder fan. So this Dallas Mavericks thing don't bother me none. I'm okay with that. I don't care at all.
I'm sure you are. Yeah, I'm sure you're fine with that.
Yeah.
Well,
but I had to check on a couple of my friends because I had to give a couple hugs. They was really hurt. No, they was really, really hurt. So. I agree with you. I don't think if you was deciding to get rid of like Micah or something like that, you would have to do it's Micah won't change as much as Luka did for the Mavericks. So I agree with that. But I haven't really got to call and talk about a whole bunch, but I'm going to try to stick to the off-season stuff. I appreciate the coaches and I'm not mad about,
Lewis, you can't pick up where you left off because we'll be talking about Thanksgiving. We'll be talking about the Giants game. No, you can't do that. It's been a minute. So
right. So
what'd you think? What'd you think of the Schottenheimer hire?
You know what? I'm not shocked. I'm not angry. I'm not mad. I'm just going to play it out, see how I feel it out. I like a lot of the people he's putting around, the pieces he's putting together as far as the coaching staff. So, and I watched the whole interview with him and Jerry and them, and I felt like he sounded like a man on a mission in a sense, like, hey, I've started from the bottom and I worked my way up here. So hopefully that's a good thing. We'll see how that works out. So I'm not really too upset about it. Like I said, I'm going to just try to play it one game at a time, see how it goes. We'll start with preseason.
Yeah.
Well, technically before that, we'll start with the draft and see how that goes.
Yep. I think this is a very, very healthy mix of continuity and newness at the same time. It seems new and fresh. He's got a lot of different things going on, but yet we still see some continuity, including him. So I think it's a healthy mix of both of that, and I think that's what a lot of people need because they need kind of a breath of fresh air, but we're not starting from scratch completely. And I don't think they should start from scratch because this hasn't been a bad football team. This has been a good to great team. Last year was average, below average.
I can agree with that.
So.
Yes, I can agree with that. Well, I was calling because yesterday I was listening. I'm stealing from yesterday's podcast, but they was talking. A caller called into, I think, Talking Cowboys, and he was talking about how he didn't agree with keeping the GM, not GM, Will McClay, and he didn't think that he was making the right moves, and everybody on the Talking Cowboys somewhat changed his mind, was like, hey, you thinking about like the Mozzie Smiths and the Taco Charltons, but you're not taking into account the Tyron Smiths and the Zach Martins and stuff like that.
Right.
But I was on the internet, on the X, Twitter, whatever, and I've seen that comment a few times before, and I kind of was like, should we really be looking at Will McClay or should we be checking on the coaching staff? Because I think like you said, there's a good mix between the two. Well, they were saying there's a good mix between the two because they evaluate the talent and then they come back and you bring them to the coaches. And if you don't win with them, everybody's trying to point the finger and say, well, we shouldn't have drafted that guy. But then when you look throughout the league, there's players from Cowboys that have been drafted all over the place making big plays and doing things. So I'm almost to the fence where, like, have we been not that the coaching is bad, but has it just been failing us? Like, you know what I mean? In a sense, like, because people getting drafted and then they leave Dallas and then they make plays other places. And so why weren't they making plays with Dallas? So, and like I said, I'm not trying to poo-poo on the coaches, but
who exactly? And I'm not questioning you here. I'm just who exactly are we referring to in that regard about the guys that go to other places and make plays?
I can't. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it because they didn't make it to the Super Bowl. But you kind of can think about Washington. Like they got half of our team from last year.
Yeah.
And and then think about the young man that played D-line from here. He went to the Rams. Oh Lord,
Gallimore. Neville Gallimore. You're right. No, Neville Gallimore did play better. He was a difference maker for the Rams. You're not wrong. And I mean another guy, and I can just not fathom this one. Trading for Jordan Phillips. I was so excited about him, and I don't know what happened in that situation. Next thing I know, he's back in Buffalo and making plays. Goal at the goal line. He's in the package and he's making plays and he's showing up and he's getting the fans involved. And he looks like a key player for that Buffalo team. And I'm thinking, this team.
Where was that?
Yeah.
Where was that?
I don't understand what happened. They tried to put him on IR. They said he had a wrist problem. He said he didn't have a wrist problem. That was the end of it there. And then, but they gave up a draft pick for that. So.
Right.
And the Washington. I'll say this though about you because you asked about is it coaching? Well, yes, it's coaching, especially with Washington because their coach and then their assistant coach and some of their other assistants went to Washington and coached them. So that is kind of you put an asterisk by that one because they did well and then if they did well in Washington it's because they had the same coaches. Cowboys just didn't want to pay that, and they still wouldn't have paid that for Dorrance. They wouldn't have paid that for Biotish. And
right.
Fowler did well. Fowler did a little bit better in Washington than he did here. So
and to me, I think that's a wash because the way we had Lawson, the Fowler and Lawson almost to me were neck and neck because you lose Fowler and then you pick up Lawson, and I think they both had 5 or 6 sacks and made a few plays here and there. So I'm not really mad at that. But, and I'm like I said, I don't think it's I don't agree with it, but I don't disagree with it because I feel like you do evaluate the talent and you bring people in, and then some of it you kind of look at like, okay, I brought this guy in because I know he's talented, but do you blame all of it on just the coaching, or is it we over-evaluated this person?
I think it's a combination of everything, really. I don't think it's just one thing. I think Will, you're going back to Will McClay. I think the body of work has been really good. It's more. With everything, it's more than just what you see. It's also communication and how you treat others, how you handle other departments. I'm not talking about opening the door for people. I'm talking about how you work with other departments, other staff. How do you work with this coaching staff when they see things differently? How are you organizing your scouting department to go to different places and get the best guys and turn over all the rocks and all that stuff? And I think he's done a great job of that. There's been a little bit of a lull here in the last couple of years, I think, from the great draft picks. I think they've been, I would say, a little bit on a down slope. But let's see if they can get this thing turned around. Because what happens? What's the best way to draft good players? It's to get higher in the draft. That's always the key. And guess what? They've done that. So that's the nature of it. You keep picking in the 20s every year, you're not going to hit. I mean, I'm looking.
You're not going to hit.
No, you're not going to hit everyone. But, I mean, when you look at the guys that they've drafted in the 20s or 30s that have made it to the Pro Bowl and been good players, I mean, Travis Frederick was 31, a 31st pick, I believe. And Byron Jones was like 28. Taco.
Dez Bryant was 27.
24, yeah. I forgot Dez down here. So, right, Dez, Frederick, Byron Jones. Taco was 27, 28, something like that. That didn't work. Obviously, Leighton was 18. CD was 17. Tyler Smith, 24 maybe. Mozzie, 26. Guyton, 28. So some yes, some not so much. But you start getting in the teens and even higher than that with the Tyron Smiths of the world and Zach Martin, Micah, they hit. So here at 12, I think especially knowing that they need so much, I think they're going to get a great football player. And so and the key is not to just get one at 12, it's to get one there at 44 in the second round.
Yeah.
Too.
No, yeah.
All right.
I think to me, and I'll get off of here. I'll get off of here. But I think the key, not the first round, is not going to be a great player. I do believe he'll be a great player, but the key is really going to be second and third round. So I hope we can nail those two.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's it, man. When I can get in, I'll call again.
All right, man. Good to hear from you. Glad you're doing okay. So just so you guys know, yeah, we keep track on that kind of stuff. We know who calls. I have all the lists of all the calls, and so when one just stops abruptly, just gotta check in. Call every once in a while. There's about 3 others I'd like to hear from for sure. I'd like to hear from all you guys, but there's 2 or 3 others I wouldn't hurt my feelings if they gave us a call. All right, let's go to Zach in Atlanta.
Nick Eatman, man of the people. How are you doing?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Been a good week, but glad to be on the line with you.
Yeah.
Shout out to Beam. Hey, a couple quick comments, and I'll get off the line. One, how big of a priority do you think receiver in free agency or the draft is going to be for us? We dealt that 4th-round pick for Mingo. Do you think, they're just counting on that to pan out and focus on other priorities? We've got Brandon Cooks, who's a free agent. What do you anticipate
That's a
the
great
plan
question.
there being?
That's a great question, and that's one where it could go. It depends on your thought process there. I mean, I could see where that could be a 1st-round pick. I don't know if I would go that route, but think back in the 90s. I mean, they had Michael Irvin, and they drafted Alvin Harper with the 11th pick. I don't think they knew what they had yet with Michael Irvin at that point, but it lit a fire under him, and he went 5 straight years of 1,000 yards. So, and it was a great combination, a great 1-2 punch. I don't think for me I would go 1st-round wide receiver, not after signing CD, but I think it's a priority because Brandon, like you said, Brandon Cooks is a free agent, and Jalen Tolbert, well, he's just tough to evaluate, isn't he? I mean, as soon as you kind of think, well, he's kind of, maybe just a guy, and then he goes and you look up and I think he had 7 or 8 touchdowns. So I don't know what to think about Jalen Tolbert. This will be a contract year for him, and let's see what he does.
That boy is good. Yeah. And I think
good and terrible.
Oh, hello?
Yeah, it was a drop. I think it was a drop Chris threw out there. It was a little longer one.
I thought we had someone in Kansas on the line. I don't even know what happened. One thing I will say is, we had Amari and Michael Gallup, and then CeeDee Lamb's sitting there at 17. You don't pass on CeeDee Lamb. So we'll see what happens. I wish we would have kept our 4th for a lot of reasons. But there's a guy who raised his hand in Los Angeles. I won't get into details, but, maybe we figure out a way to make that happen. Too late now.
Yeah.
So all that to say, my final question, and maybe you've covered this, but if you were playing football, what do you think would be the most fun position to play? Not necessarily what you're built for or what you played in the past, but what would you like to get out there and go balling? So
Holder.
Same time, same place next week.
All right.
I'll get off the line. Go Cowboys.
All right. Holder. No doubt about it. I think I'd be really good at it. I think, I'd be tough, aggressive, where you get that ball, spin it, get your finger out of the way. I think it'd be really good. Until the ball's really slippery and shiny, like in a playoff game, then it might, slip through my hands and then, cost a game and, kind of haunt you for the rest of your career. I mean, that could happen. No, I'm kidding. I don't think it haunted him the rest of his career. I don't. That's a tough question for me because I never really had that football, build. I think I played 1 year maybe in like middle school, and I was a wide receiver, caught a pass. That's about it. We didn't throw, so it was in Oklahoma where the wishbone was going on there at OU. So we didn't. Nobody threw the ball, but either way, no. I I've never really thought about that because I never played a lot of football. But, it's fun to go out in the yard and throw it around. I thought myself as a receiver, but certainly not a quarterback. My Lord. Terrible arm. Anyways, holder, though. I think a holder. Definitely not kicking, but, I get the ball down and we can kick some field goals. How about that? All right, let's go to Chris. What was that drop? Play that drop now for me.
That boy is good. Mm-hmm. Good and terrible.
Wow. Okay. We're just talking about Jalen Tolbert. He threw that out there. I don't know about that, but
I mean, come on, man. Sometimes you're like, boy, that boy's good.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you
good
drops a couple balls. You're like, boy, he's good and terrible.
All right. I don't know if I'd go there.
Come on,
I don't know
man.
No,
it was funny.
It was funny. It was funny. I didn't hear the second part of it though, and he kind of just threw it out there. The guy's talking and thinking somebody jumped on the phone line. And again,
that's from right.
Yeah, I can't remember. I've seen that movie.
Coming to America.
Coming to America. I don't remember the second line though of good and terrible. All right, probably talking about sexual chocolate. There
you go.
Yeah,
Let's
okay.
go.
I've seen the movie again.
Come on, man.
Not today, but I have seen it. All right, let's go to Ronnie in New Jersey.
Good morning, Nick.
How are you?
Pretty good. Thank you. I hope everybody's doing good over there.
Doing good.
Nick, I was going to ask you, there's a guy out there that's, if you're going to have to pay, I just want to put this scenario. If you got to pay a guy top dollar to be a game wrecker.
All right, are you talking about somebody that's miles away from here?
Yes. Exactly. And right now, everybody knows this guy has always been a Cowboys fan. This guy, when he was coming out, he actually was asking, begging, hey, trade Romo to Cleveland for me and come and draft me. I don't know if you remember that, but when he was coming out, he wanted to go to the Cowboys so bad. And we do have if you're not going to give up a draft pick, and I know it's going to require high draft picks to get this guy, as desperate as he wants to get out of there, you do have a guy that's coming up for a contract that's due big money. And if you're going to pay big money to one or the other, I'd rather pay big money to the one that's more dominant, the one that's actually a game wrecker. And I'm not saying nothing against Micah Parsons. I love Micah Parsons, but he's not that. He's not a guy that completely takes over a game. And I've seen both, and I've seen almost all the pass rushes. Myles Garrett's got to be the guy that actually does take over a game and destroys left tackles, double blocks. Micah always complains about, I'm being double blocked, this and that. Myles Garrett runs over two guys at the same time. I've seen him. So is this something that you would do? That's basically my question. And what do you think about that? Thanks for taking my question.
All right. Thanks for the call, Ronnie. We don't necessarily talk about players on other contracts, and even though somebody has requested a trade, that doesn't mean that he's being shopped or anything like that. And I hear what you're saying. Does this guy wreck games? I mean, I don't know. I'm looking at Cleveland's record. I mean, this seems like there'd be more games that he could wreck. It would be, than being 3-14 and 7-10, 8-9. He has a couple 11-5, 11-6s in there. 6-10, 7-8. I don't think he was a part of the 0-16. That's probably how they got him. I would think that's when they drafted him. But I think that probably wouldn't be the best situation as far as what the Cowboys would give up compared to other teams, but sure would be interesting, and wow, what a combination that would be on two guys on just trying to meet at the quarterback. Would you give up 12? I mean, got to get better. But I mean, I still think this is a situation. I don't think it's a rebuild, but I think it's one of those where it's still going to take a little bit of time. I don't think you would put the Cowboys in the one player away category, and I could see other teams probably that would be closer to that. That would be willing to give up their first round pick or a couple first round picks, knowing that they're a little bit later in the first round than maybe what the Cowboys have right now. But interesting. Again, that's about as much as we can really go from there. Let's go to Anthony in Miami.
Nick the Quick, what's up, my guy?
How are you?
A little tad under the weather, a little tad, got a little froggy voice, but that ain't gonna stop me.
Yeah, that's
How
right.
you doing, man?
I'm good. We don't talk about weather too much, and I guess maybe we shouldn't talk about under the weather either. But I get it. No, it knocks people on their ass, and it's been going around. It's been tough. I'm glad most people are doing okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm out of it.
What's on your mind?
Hey, last week when I talked about the coach and welcoming him and saying I'll take him with open arms.
Mm-hmm.
His staff, he's getting a pretty good staff, and I have the confidence that they're going to keep building that staff. And so here's the catch. With you needing a lot of players and you having a lot of free agents, and rebuilding a team, you got to go through that draft, and you're going to have to hit free agency. But I remember you saying you don't have to get the A-plus players. We don't need them. I mean, you're going to need role players, and you're going to need guys to basically fill those holes that you're going to be missing. So you got to think, when guys have those liaisons across the league, players might want to play for them. Players might want to follow them. Good players, role players, solid players. So that's a good thing in him creating that kind of coaching culture that I think he's going to be able to create. So I'm all down for that.
Yeah.
Now, as I said, with the draft, I see 4 key positions. There are more. Of course, running back, D tackle guard, and slot receiver. Now, I want the running back more than anything in the world, so I'm not doing any trades because I want him. But in the case that he's not there, I'm trading back. I'm not going past 20, but I'm going to get me some more capital and still get me a great pick. That's just me. But I do want the running back. Trust me, I want him.
Yeah.
So that's all I got for you this week, big buddy.
Yeah, all right. Appreciate that.
All right, no problem.
Yeah, I know there's been some talk on, how much wear and tear has been on Ashton Genty's, body because he's gotten a lot of carries. But, yeah, that would I can't say I've seen a lot of games. You see the highlights and obviously with a runner-up in the Heisman, all those yards. But I watched them play against Penn State, and they have really good defense. And I remember thinking, well, it was a 9-yard run, and I was like, all right, I see what the hype is all about. I mean, I'm not talking about the 70-yarders because he's got plenty of those. That's how you average 10 yards a pop. But I saw a 9-yard run that probably had 6 Penn State defenders involved in the play trying to get him down, and it was a man's run, and it was one of those where that's how you have to win when you're playing the Washington or the Eagles or the Giants or in December. You got to have runs like that. When it's first and goal from the 9. And you get about a 6 or 7 yard run and make it second and goal at the 3, that changes the whole dynamic, probably makes it a 4-down territory. It's runs like that when they know you're running, when you've got the lead in the fourth quarter and it's 4 minutes to go and you've got a 4-point lead and, you're trying to get them to call their timeouts and you go, run, you get 6, 4, 7, 8. Yeah, that's how you win games. And so, and again, it was just one run. But it was a powerful run, the shiftiness and all that it reminded me. There was some Emmett in that, that I saw there. He's got a lot more speed than that. I think he's a special back, and I think that when that happens and there's really only one running back, makes me wonder if he can get to 12. I've seen some mock drafts like you guys have where he's past that, but I'm also starting to see him in the 7-8 range. So I could see, when you think about it, a few years ago, Bijan Robinson, I think, went 8, maybe 7. Gibbs went 12. That was the same draft. So you get a special back. I don't know. 12 seems pretty late in the game to get a guy like that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. Let's go to Armando in Mexico City.
Hey, Nick. How are you?
How are you doing?
Fine, thanks. Still trying to get in. It's getting more complicated every time.
Well, I appreciate you sticking with it.
I'm gonna add myself to the campaign to get another show because only once a week is really hard.
Yeah. Trust me. I think I've put in the call a little bit on that. Kind of dropped that over to the bosses, and I think it's going to be one show a week. I don't think anything's going to be. I don't think anything's going to change till we get to
maybe
camp.
Derek, that you have now international pressure on that.
Yeah. That being said, I think it's going to be one show a week.
Yeah, I understand. So anyway, Nick, I couldn't get in last week to talk about the head coach, and I like it. But I have to think about what you said the other day. Say, if it's going to be from within, you have to change everything else. And Schottenheim is from within, but they change everything else on the coaches. So I like it. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
So I really want my personal choice was Pete Carroll, but you said he had some outrageous demands.
Yes.
And that we were going to read about it. I haven't found anything about it, so maybe you can talk a little bit about that. That'd be interesting to see what he wanted. So, but anyway, if you can, of course.
Yeah.
And I want Genti on the draft. I hope it gets to us at 12. I think he's going to be a game changer. So I hope he does. We need a home run on this draft in the first round.
Yeah.
Safer, if you can say that.
Yeah.
And one last point, Nick. I've seen a lot of position coaches changing positions, from the defensive line, maybe linebackers, and then back and forth. How easy is that change? Do you think it's easy or it's hard? Because that's not been talked about a lot. So I want your opinion on that.
Okay.
So anyway, that's it. Thank you very much for having me. I'll get off the line.
Thank you for the call. It's not like playing the position. It can be done. I've seen it happens a lot. And think about this. Keep from a simplistic part. Think about these coaches and where they come from. Most of them are, they're all players. But some of these coaches start at the high school level, college, and you think about high school coaches, what they have to coach, and so coach a little bit of everything. Especially when you talk about special teams coaches, even in the NFL, you're talking about tackling, you're talking about returning, catching a punt, shedding a block, making a block. You got to do a little bit of everything. So when it comes to skill set and understanding how to do certain concepts, I don't think that's that much of a transition. If you've done it and you kind of understand, I think you can have linebackers coaches can go to D-line coaches and vice versa and things like that. So, these guys are trying to get in the door. You're trying to get in the door. You do whatever it takes. You're trying to move up the ladder, and you'll learn what you have to do to get there. So I don't think that's a huge transition, as long as they're dedicated to putting in the work and the hours and study the film and things like that. When I'm talking about position coaches that kind of change different positions within, it's certainly not like a player doing that. All right, let me go to break here real quick on the Cowboys storyline. Got a couple people on the line. We'll be right back after this.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
There is no I in Dallas. There is no I in Hart either. No I in Blue Star or in Lone Star for that matter. And there's no I in how about them Cowboys? Smirnoff knows there's no I in football. Football is a we thing, an experience that is best enjoyed together. With good drinks and good folks, home or away, we rally together, we cry together, and we always rally cry together because there's definitely no I in Cowboys fans. Smirnoff, we do game days. Please drink responsibly.
Back to Cowboys Storyline.
All right, welcome back to Cowboys Storyline. Is this the only show today, Chris? We just got one show on Cowboys podcast today because
no, we got Media Mash this afternoon.
Media Mash this afternoon. Yes. Got it.
All right. JJT and Ed Werder.
Got it. All right. Cowboy Storyline. It's the only show going today.
That's fine.
Okay. Now, if I go longer if I want to, because the Cowboys break not happening today. So you know what? I don't get pushed.
For some reason, Derek did not want to do a show by himself.
You know what? It's not built for everyone. You know what I mean? Kidding. I don't do a show by myself. I do a show with you.
Exactly.
And we got all kinds of people that call in. We got doctors. I think lawyers. I know we have a sheriff. Let's go to Kansas for our sheriff. Sheriff Lonnie.
Hello, Nick. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Just hanging out at the house, hiding from everybody so I don't get sick like everybody else. So far, that's been a good plan.
There you go. That's a good excuse too. You know what I mean? Like, sorry, no, y'all can't come over. Sorry, you can't.
I can't
go.
Storyline's on today, and it's on for hopefully all day. That'll keep me inside.
Well, we'll see. You know, if I could maybe do Uber Eats or something like that, I could just sit here all day. I'm sure Chris would love that. No.
Yeah.
So, what do you got? What's going on?
Hey, I was thinking about all this free agent stuff, and with the draft coming up, I think best plan, take our pick at 12, whoever it is, whoever you think is the best player available to fill the biggest need you have, which Cowboys have a bunch.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
If you do decide to go out into free agency, instead of getting that one player, why not drop down just a little bit, split your money up, and get maybe a couple of needs with the money? And if they would do that, who do you think you would like to see them pick in a free agent that would help in that regard? And then your thoughts on
okay,
your first pick in the draft, depending on whether it's a tackle available or Genty or whoever on that.
Yeah.
I got some thoughts. Maybe if Genty's there, maybe I've seen. I didn't like couple of the games because when he got up against really good defense, his yards per average wasn't great, and he's run the ball a ton already in his career.
Well, let me just to be fair, let's look at how many, like for instance, Oregon and Penn State. Those are two teams that he faced that maybe his stats weren't the best. I know both of those teams have a lot of guys in the draft on the defensive line specifically. Does Boise State have about 3 offensive linemen going in the first couple days? I doubt it. My point is that as a back, you don't have that offensive line. It's not the same, and you're going up against some top guys. I thought that's why I said that run that I liked against Penn State. He wasn't getting a ton of blocking. He was doing a lot on his own. So got to be fair a little bit. It's not just him going up against Penn State and Oregon. It's his offensive line as well. So, you have to throw all that out there. And then to be fair, on the flip side, he's going up against Nevada and Wyoming sometimes, and he's racking up a ton of yards, and they're not going to be putting guys in the league on every single round either. So you have to kind of weigh through all that stuff. You there, Sheriff?
Yeah, I'm there.
All right. Anything else?
No, I was just curious on what your thought would be if they decided to go out in free agency, maybe pick somebody up. I know people are talking about Cooper and that. Just kind of your thoughts on maybe some that would be available for free agent wise, because trading somebody, you don't have a lot of players that you can get rid of.
True.
Because then you just create another hole.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
We don't need any more holes.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, Lonnie, appreciate that. Thanks for the call. Good stuff. I haven't looked at all of the guys in free agency that are on other teams right now. I would say I'd like to I would look at the Cardinals and see. I don't even know who's out there, but I'm looking at familiarity. I'm looking at guys. I mean, look at what Washington did. And so I guarantee you, Dorrance Armstrong and Fowler, Igbenogany, they had some success because they didn't really have to change systems. They knew their coach. They knew that kind of stuff. So look at those type of things. Look at guys that are coming from other places that they've coached before, that they have a good relationship with. Maybe there is somebody on the Cardinals, maybe on their offensive line. I don't even know. I'm just throwing that out there. But somebody that could come here and be like, I know I know the scheme, I know what I'm doing, I know that kind of stuff. So I would look at familiarity as one when it comes to the free agency. And then, I'm okay with a splash. I'd be okay with it. If you could tell me, we could go get 8 good players, solid to good players here, or we could get 5 and one of them is pretty damn good. I'm going that route. I'm going that route with this team right now. With this team, this fan base, what this team needs. They need a shot in the arm. They need that. So I would be okay with that, knowing that, hey, we've got a really good player or 2 in here, as opposed to just saying, let's get 7 or 8, 9 guys that'll be solid. If they're solid, I mean, that's why they're in free agency, because they're solid. Give me a guy that's a little bit better than that, and I think that's what this team needs, and be nice change of pace if that's what the Cowboys decided to do. All right, let's go to our next caller, Irene in Falls Church, Virginia.
Hey, it's been a while. Oh my gosh, hundreds and hundreds of calls trying to get in. So here I am.
Well, I appreciate it.
I'm trying. Hey, so who would have thought when I asked which team we least wanted to win the Super Bowl that my answer of Washington would have come so close.
Yeah.
That was frightening for me. But I felt the Eli Manning magic, helmet catch vibes with that team. So that's kind of what was in my head.
Yeah.
Even though I think they overachieved, but they're building something that unfortunately is going to be torturing us for years, looks like. But I'm glad that's over. Go Chiefs.
Yeah.
That's it. I know everybody. I know there's some people who are like, oh no, they're going to win 3 in a row and tie the Cowboys on Super Bowls. But I'm like, we don't need the Eagles. Come on.
No. You remember,
do something about it. Get there yourself. You know.
You remember all those Chiefs fans that have called in and talking all that crap about the Cowboys? Like, no, it's Philly fans all the time. So yeah, keep them where they are. They've won one Super Bowl. Just keep it at that. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's in anyone's DNA that can call this show to be like, yeah, I'm okay with Philly winning. Like, no, can't even say that. Doesn't even come out of your mouth. All right.
No. All right, so just to give you my thoughts on Shotty. So when the hiring happened, I was not excited. Of course, 2 days later, our division rivals were going to be playing in the NFC Championship. So it really felt like, wow, we're going behind, or we're not trying to, make the big move, and everyone else is just passing us by. But I will say now I'm interested. I still would have preferred Aaron Glenn, but that's fine. I don't think we even called him, so it is what it is. I like how he's shaping up the staff. I like Flus. I think that I wanted him as the successor to Marinelli, but since then there's been even better, the coordinators, the White Cotton DL coach, he had the Jets line looking great. Adams, he should get our running game more creative. So, I'm good with that. And then what what Schottenheimer said that excited me was motion, tempo, that sort of stuff.
Pace,
I think it's true that he was taking over the play calling because something shifted in that, and then that's what he brought up in the presser. So I don't think that's just like a PR thing that they're trying to sell us on.
Right.
And then my only question for you is if there's news about the O-line coach. I think Todd Archer said we're probably going to hire a separate one, and it's not just going to be Clayton Adams doing both duties. So that's it for me. I'll talk to you.
All right. Thanks for the call, Irene. Couple of position coaches still out there, wide receivers coach and O-line for sure. I think that's about it for the main position coaches. They hired a running backs coach, Derek Foster. They have assistant receivers coach, obviously special teams coordinator, D-line coach, linebackers coach, safeties, corners, obviously your defensive coordinator. So I would think your O-line and your receivers coach, and I think both of those are going to be outside the building for now, which is good. So again, pretty good mix of some guys that they've had here. Some of the lower level coaches are still around, but I think this is just a good combination of both. You've got some new faces, new voices, new opinions. Not everybody is new. And so, and that'll be good for those new coaches too. That's always important. I'll never forget Wade Phillips saying that when he got here, and he changed almost every coach but like 2 or 3. And he's like, you got to have holdovers. You got to have some, because if you don't, then you'll just make the same mistakes that were done before. So you need that. And this team's got it. And Schottenheimer was here, so he knows all of this stuff as well. All right. Chris, is that it for calls? I mean, I know we had a lot of calls. I haven't seen one come through.
I have Michael in Bowling Green.
Oh, okay.
You saw that one, no?
I haven't seen that one pop up here. All right, Michael, Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Man, we got to do this twice a week. Come on now.
Well, I agree with you, but I'm going to tell you that we probably won't. But you know what? If y'all keep calling right now, we can just take over the next time slot here where the
That's what I said. I said that by the time you guys keep calling, it will be 2 days.
Keep calling, and we'll do 2 shows here. No one's gonna stop us right now. I don't think.
Yeah,
keep going.
I was thinking the same thing. Either do 2 hours or do 2 days. So that works for me.
Yeah.
I did not want McCarthy to leave, but now it is exciting with the, seeing all these new hires. I've got some excitement for next year. I don't think I'm going to watch the Super Bowl because I'm going to be mad either way. But let me ask you a question about the Super Bowl.
Okay.
All right. Say this works out with these new coaches, which I think is going to be all right.
Yeah.
Say we're in a Super Bowl in a few years. All right. Say we win the Super Bowl. Now, I know the players get these nice rings, coaches get them, but from watching Pawn Stars, when people come in with a Super Bowl ring, they're like, oh, this is a staff ring. It's not worth as much. If the Cowboys win the Super Bowl, do you get a Super Bowl ring as a staff?
I don't know. I mean, that has obviously never come up. I've only been here, 27 years. How about I know?
Oh, I know.
No, I don't. I've had that question asked several times, and at different points in my time of being here, I guess the answer could have changed. I would think now, maybe I would, but I don't know how they do it. I don't know if maybe it's something to purchase, or I don't know. I would love to figure that out. I would love for that to be a situation where we have to talk about it, but I would think I would have a shot for it, but I don't know.
Well, in a few years when we get there, I'm sure you'll let us know if you got a ring.
Oh yeah. Y'all would know all the time. I'd be like Broadus there with his throwing it around like, you like this mic? Look at this microphone we have here. Look at this, and then it show it. Yeah, I would do that. I don't know though. I can't imagine ever wearing it. But again, that's a
special occasions.
Hey, I view that of hey. So if you won the lottery, what do you buy? Yeah, we'll see. I mean, if that ever happened, but I don't play the lottery, so who knows? All right.
Well, I'm looking for. I've got high hopes for this new. I mean, every time they bring somebody in, I'm like, I look at them and research them. And I'm like, all right, this is good. This is good. I think we're gonna have a good deal going.
Yeah.
I think we got a coach that should have been a coach, but just hasn't.
That's fair. And that's a lot of coaches are that way. Like Aaron Glenn, I bet you, and the Jets is kind of the same thing. Like, it just hasn't gotten that opportunity. His though, you could see coming a little bit more just with the success that his team had. But I agree. I mean, he says all the right things. Schottenheimer does. He says all the right things, and he did say all the right things. And it was a kind of an awkward press conference a little bit, the way things were kind of set up there. And, he's in between two guys, and they're talking about a lot of stuff, history, and the history of the last 30 years and the Super Bowl drought that they've had. Well, none of that is his problem. Schottenheimer's problem. It really isn't. And he's, but he still embraced it, I thought, the right way, knowing what the fans are wanting and knowing what the expectations are around here.
All right, well.
All right, Michael. Good stuff.
Hey, I appreciate it. I've been trying to get in for the last couple of Wednesdays, but I just wasn't successful.
All right, well, got it. You know what? You keep trying and you did. You made it. It was good to hear from you.
Oh, I will. Hey, right. I appreciate it. You have a good one.
All right. Michael in Bowling Green, Kentucky. All right. We're at that part of the show where you know what? If you want to call in, you could call. If you've called in, if you have never called before, this would be a good time. If you have called before, call back. If you've called already in this show, call on back again. We have a repeat caller, Chris. Lester in Minnesota's called back. Lester, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hey, Nick.
I mean, you only have one catchphrase. I mean, and so what else can you say? Again, they haven't drafted an offense or defensive lineman. They can't get better at the same time. What else is there, Lester? But I'm dying to know. What do you got?
Well, I just wanted to follow up on what I was saying earlier. I'm not saying we need to trade Michael Parsons. I'm saying we need to be the ones trying to look for, someone maybe disgruntled or whatever on another team quietly, like what happened in the basketball world. And we be on the end of getting the good player and the other one gets the other player. That's what I meant, not us giving up something. I mean, we taking something. Okay. Like, example, we didn't know that Miles Away was disgruntled. Maybe we could have known that 2 or 3 months ago, and then just quietly got him. I'm not saying get here, but that's an example.
Well,
that's what I meant, man.
I'll say this, and there's 2 reasons why the Mavericks fans are so disappointed. Number one, this was the most exciting guy in the league. To every time you turned it on, you don't know what he's going to do, and so and he's a young player still. So to not have him here is so disappointing. If you're going to get rid of him, though, you better get a haul back, and they did not, and that's another thing that's unfortunate. I say all that to say, I doubt Cleveland is not going to get a haul for the guy if they end up trading him. So that's even at his age, that's going to be interesting to see what happens there.
Right. Well, I'm just saying, let us be on the receiving end of the other fans feeling like, what happened? Yeah. Oh, the Cowboys, stole or whatever this particular player or that particular player, and we just gave a 3rd round pick or 8th round pick or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
No, I got you. Thanks for clarifying. I appreciate it. Good stuff. All right, Lester. It's been a while
All right, man. Let's get that offensive and defensive line at the same time. Go Cowboys.
Right. Good. I like that. It's a good point. Offense, defense, same time. Love it. All right, Lester, repeat caller. It's only happened once, I believe, and it was a guy from Connecticut, Pete, right? And I think he called 3 times in one show. So it's good to have a repeat caller there. Yeah, we called him 3 Pete. That's right, Chris. All right, Nico in Colorado Springs. Nico.
Hey, what's up, Nick? How you doing, brother?
Good. How are you?
Oh man, I got a bone to pick with you.
All right.
Okay.
What
well,
happened?
I haven't called since week 5.
Okay.
And that was the Steelers game. And big reason I haven't called is because after I called and talked with you, I mentioned that it's important to me as a Cowboy fan and the rest of the Cowboys fans that we get a Super Bowl. And I remember your words were, well, if that's what you define as success, well, didn't our new coach, Jim Carrey, Schottenheimer, say the same thing?
That he said, if we're not shooting for a Super Bowl, then what are we doing here? If that's
exactly.
not the goal.
Exactly. And I told the story about my mom and my uncles getting into a fight 30 years ago, Super Bowl. And now we have a coach that is saying things like that. Again, another yes man nod to Jerry. Congratulations on getting your Jim Carrey. But us Cowboys fans are frustrated. For instance, I haven't watched one in 30 years. I don't plan watching this game either. I could care less who wins. I don't care. When we get bumped out, I don't give other teams my ratings. I just won't do it. It's the star or nothing. So that brings me to my point about picking that bone with you. When I fought in MMA, the only victory was to win. There was no victory and loss. So for when you were explaining, like, well, I guess if that's your definition of success, it should be the only definition of success.
So
I'm not real sure what other things are successful.
Okay, I mean, I'm not going to see it that way. I'm sorry. I don't think whoever has the trophy Sunday night is the only successful team in the league. I don't think that way. I think there's other teams. I mean, you're telling me Washington didn't have success this year because they didn't make it to the Super Bowl? I mean, like, I think there's other ways to define it. But I don't remember exactly all that conversation and kind of what was said and all that, and maybe how the wording was. But I mean, you're talking to somebody that's been here. I've worked here now for 27 years. I have not seen an NFC Championship game or a Super Bowl. So if I walked around here saying, well, the only thing mattered is that I'd been fired a long time ago, that's not the way it works for me. That's not the way my mind thinks. I think of things different. I can get excited about different things. If I have to cover a 5-11 football team 3 years in a row, I figure out different things that work for me. Because in my mind, I wasn't going anywhere. This is a great job. I love it. So he didn't make it to the Super Bowl again and again. But I view it differently. I'm not asking you to view it a different way. If you want to turn it off after they're done, that's fine. I don't view it that way. And I don't know if a lot of fans do either. But it's the ultimate goal, yes. But if you fall short of it, hey, see if you can figure out a way to get there next year. Build on what you've done. But again, I'm just arguing about a conversation that I really don't remember, so I don't.
No, that's all right. It just sit with me because I know what I would define as success. And right now, just like 88 has said, we are Blockbuster, we are Sears, we are old news. When are we going to get that star to stop being tarnished and brass it or clean it back up and shine correctly like what we used to be? We're losing our moniker, America's team. We're losing it by definition of championships, not by definition of making Jerry Jones billions. I mean, Gary, do me a favor, bro. Get out of your broken Bronco, put down your ping pong ball, and actually do your damn job is what Cowboy fans want. That's all I got, Nick. Have a good day.
All right. Appreciate it. Frustration. I get it. I'm not. I mean, I think that I do think that there's the ultimate prize is certainly there, and that's what. Think about it. When they say that there's a drought for 29 years, it's that. It's Super Bowl drought. They haven't won the Super Bowl. And there's teams that have, and I'm not going to sit here and try to spin it. I mean, the Cowboys are probably, in that top, I would say 7 or 8 teams in those last 29 years when it comes to wins, success, all that stuff. But they have not won the Super Bowl. And there's fans like the caller we just had that's the only thing that matters. And I can understand that, but for me, I've been forced to look at it differently. I have to. Because you walk around here pissed off that they don't make the Super Bowl, you're not going to be walking around here a whole lot longer. So I view it differently. Maybe that's why I'm a stats nerd. That's why I enjoy. I found different ways to kind of look at it, all with the mindset of hopefully, this is the year. And that's what's so great about football season or sports in general. You can be mad all you want to. This last caller, Nico, he's mad. He doesn't want to watch the Super Bowl. He's not going to give them their ratings. Cool. Well, I get it. But when that draft comes around, he's going to be looking at it. He's like, all right, let's see if they got it. All right, cool. And then the next guy, then you get to training camp, preseason, and it's a cycle. It just comes back around again. And that's where we are. All right. Here we go. Let's go. Robbie in Cocoa Beach. We're calling back again. We're calling again.
Yeah, man.
Robbie, what's up?
I'm not tooting my own horn, but I've called once before because you had said something and I think you had taken it out of context.
All right.
And I called back.
All right.
Because I can be defensive, remember, or something like that. I don't know. It was a long time ago.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. That's all good. Well, what do you got?
Yeah, it was poking it.
What's on your mind now?
Man, I am angry now.
Uh-oh.
You know why?
No.
I just read that son of a gun, Adam Rank's list of expected Pro Bowl or Hall of Fame inductees. And he's got Woody in the list, but he doesn't even put him on the chance to make it. But why do our Cowboys get such disrespect, man? I don't know. It's because it sells, If you love us or you hate us.
I don't know. I don't listen. I'm not sure. None of that's come out yet. I've kind of got, and I haven't been told one way or another, but I'm getting the sense that it's not going to be his year. So.
I hope not. That's not fair.
No, it's not. But
I don't know that.
You know what? And I'm biased. I know I am, and we all are a little bit. But
we all are because we watched him. We watched him with
play.
Roy Williams next to him. Oh my God, Roy Williams an amazing player.
Yeah.
Not that he wasn't good, but him and Roy Williams together were the dynamic duo.
Well,
And then when Woody left, Roy went super downhill.
Well, it's America's team. It's the Dallas Cowboys, one of the greatest franchises of all time, and the guy that's made more tackles than anyone, not just on defense, but defense and special teams combined. No one's gotten even close to the amount of tackles that he has, and he's not there. So he will be. And that's the thing about it.
He will be. That's a fact.
Yeah, I know that'll be the case. You can't get that close over and over. He'll make it. They have a process that those voters are doing, and they're trying to clean it up a little bit. And I think what they're doing is trying to get these guys that have been waiting a long time. And Darren's in there. He's in that group. He's getting closer. I think it'll happen. I think it'll happen next year. If it doesn't happen this year, I think it'll happen next year. I think Jason Witten will be up for it. I don't believe Jason Witten's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Really?
Not first. Well, because nowadays, if you're not Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, I think that they don't. The voters have it. First ballot has got to be absolutely. It's a sacred thing now, and so
I agree with that. But the only thing that makes me think that he gets in the first ballot is that run against Philly when he lost his helmet and kept running and the blood coming out of his nose.
Yeah.
And then they changed the rule the next year.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that made a lot of people go, "Oh my God, this guy's a beast."
Yeah, there's no doubt, and that'll be on his reel when he gets in the second year. I don't think it'll be a first year with him. But my point is I don't think they'd put Woodson and I would love if they put Woodson and Witten in together.
That'd be awesome, yeah.
Because save us 2 trips from going up there because we'd be playing in the game. I know that our team would be playing in the Hall of Fame game if that happens. I'm sure over the next couple of years that will probably happen. All right, Robbie.
I hope so. All right, thanks, Nick.
See ya.
I just wanted to tell you what Adam Rank said, man. Have a great show.
Don't even know who that is. Thank you, appreciate it. We are now, but now Lewis is just trolling me now. He hadn't called in like 6 weeks, maybe like 2 months. And now you've called twice. Love it. What's up?
I told Chris, I said, since we called it twice, I figured I'd throw my hand in there and try it again.
You're back in there. You know what? I write the callers down, and 15 is about the most I've ever done. So now we're at 18, and I was about to say we're not going to stop till we get to 20, and then Chris just said last caller, so he must be getting hungry. It's all right.
I think he might be getting tired.
Yeah, it's okay. You know what, though? This guy's done like 8 shows in a day during the season, so he's not getting tired. He's just getting – once we get the same callers calling back, it's like, I think it's a good sign to wrap this thing up. But, Lewis, what do you got?
Again, man, I was calling because I was listening and I heard Lester say he wasn't trying to get rid of Michael Parsons. And I agree with him. I'm not either. So I kind of understand his take now that he kind of broke it down. I wouldn't mind Dallas going, down there and trying to figure out, like, if there's a guy that's disgruntled or a guy that might be able to be on his maybe 2 years or last year his deal that might want to get out of there, throw something at him, So now I don't necessarily – I know most people want picks, but can we package up a player and maybe like a 5th or 6th round pick, see if we can get somebody? And me personally, I know we're going to go in the draft and we're going to do best player available at hope. But at the same time, there's so many needs. I think you have to I would go best player available. But in the free agency, you have to make some moves. We can't go and just get somebody that's going to be $1 million here or $1 million there. Got to spend a little bit of money. That's what I hope they do. And I know they're going to sign I hope they sign a lot of their guys. But like you said, get a little bit of old, get a little bit of new, and try to mix it up that way. And hopefully that works out. And like I said, I ain't going to hold you too long. So I appreciate y'all, and I appreciate Chris for taking my call.
All right.
Take it easy.
Thank you. Good to hear from you again, Lewis. And I think that'll wrap it up for us. I understand this team. You guys want some new players in here. I mean, they have to have new players. They got to have an upgrade. They can't just say, "Well, we had injuries and we'll be fine." No, because that being said, the teams from the previous year, they weren't good enough. They were good enough to get to the playoffs, but not good enough to get over to the hump. So you're gonna have to keep, yes, you've got some good players on here. You got to keep building around it. Find the right fits. Find some guys that maybe didn't work in another system that could work here. That's always the trick with free agency is who needs that fresh start and who, Philadelphia's in the Super Bowl because of a guy like that. That needed that fresh start, and look at them now and look how great of their season that they've had. You need to find some of those, figure out how to do that, and figure out who those guys are, and bring them in here for the right price, and see how they fit. But I do think this is a team that needs a splash or two to mix in with what they've got. So all right, good show. Got a lot of repeat callers. Got up to 18 calls. A lot of fun today. Glad we could go into a little bit of overtime. Only doing the one show a week, and that's not going to change, but at least we can go over every now and again. Today, we were allowed to do that. All right. For Chris Beam, I'm Nick Eatman. We'll see you next Wednesday on Cowboys Storyline.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.